How's it going, everybody? It's Captain Solomon here, and I am here to go over my version of a tier list for Dragonball Fighterz. See, the World Tournament is ending this Sunday, and there's an announcement, rumored of an announcement of Season 2, with Jiren being like the debut character for Season 2. And I'm excited. I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I'm a nerd. I admit it wholeheartedly. And also, fighting games are one of my favorite game types to play. So with all that being said, I decided, after doing some research, looking at some of the tier lists from greats like Hook Gang God and Sonic Fox and Go One and Nonkami, I was looking at a bunch of different like tier lists and stuff like that, watching them like explain who they think's good. I'm giving you guys my very, very not nearly as good version of a tier list. Based off of my views, because I'm a Super Saiyan 2 with like 400 some ranked matches under my belt. That's it. I'm a Wi-Fi warrior. That's all I am. But I think I can still entertain you guys and talk about it with you. And we're just gonna work our way up through this, just talking about a lot of these characters, probably all of them, to be honest with you, because why not? So let's start at the bottom down here. Android 17. Wanted him to be better, but it's clear that he's kind of universally seen as the bottom tier character. His wall jumps are really cool. His rekkas lead to a lot of interesting mix-up options, especially with the different cell driver gears that you could do. You could do them in different orders. You can only use each gear once in the combo, but it's cool that you can like go for the low and then go for the overhead, or start with the overhead, or going into the overhead first. Yeah, you could do a lot of stuff like that, which is nice. You put him in the right scenarios, you can do a good bit of damage. And I mean, I've played him a lot, but like his pros, they're very outweighed by his cons in all actuality. Nothing really feels safe for him. A lot of stuff kind of floats out there. Feels like you can be punished pretty easily. It's just nothing else he really does is great. He's got short, range on his normals. He doesn't have any beams to speak of, so he's just not good, in all honesty. So I definitely have him down there, but not too far ahead of him. We've got your boy Krillin. It's definitely Kriller time, boys and girls. His corner game is one of my favorite things to do with him, because you just get in there, you're tossing little rocks, you're having assists come tag in, and you can definitely have some fun with stuff like that. His neutral game is kind of okay if you got some assists to back him up, but he's also got some nice key blasts. Like, you can control one of them to go up in the air and then come down, a few seconds later, which is nice. It's interesting and different. But in all actuality, like, his normals aren't that great because he's a short character, meaning he's got stubby little limbs and he can't really hit that far out, which is a bit of a problem. And the sensu beans are I'm going to call them useless. I mean, that might be a little harsh. Regaining blue life is nice, but you can also just tag out to do that, and I feel it's the smarter option in a game like this. His sensu beans just really aren't coming into play, so I just don't think he's that great. You know what, let's go to the right of him right now. Let's talk about Son Goku, the face of the franchise. He's really balanced. He's a balanced character. All his supers and normals are pretty solid, and you can kind of count on them to be a lot safer than most other stuff that you can do. Not supers, specials, by the way, is what I meant there. A lot of his stuff's just, safer in general. But he only has one low attack, which is his crouching medium. So mix-ups and stuff like that aren't really going to happen too often. His assist can be used for combos. That's nice. But I mean, and the Kaioken's kind of nice too, because the less people you have, the more hits it gets in, and like the more damage it does, which is cool. And his level 3, it does the most damage in the game. However, it's also the Spirit Bomb, which means you have to charge it to level 3, and most of the time you're not going to do that. Even though it doesn't take a whole lot of time to charge, going to the 3rd level, it's going to cost you kind of probably both assists to really make sure he gets there, to make sure he's protected long enough. So I feel it's just kind of not worth it. And he just doesn't bring anything to the table that's super powerful or strong or different. But I mean, he's still definitely more useful overall, especially with his assist, than Krillin. Krillin's assist isn't that great. Next, we'll go over to my boy Nappa. I love Nappa. He's a power-based character, which I always like stuff like that. I'm into that. And he's got the neat gimmick with the Cybermen. He can plant Cybermen, which helps for bread and butter combos, make him able to do some crazy mix-up stuff if you're done doing it right. And he also like can do a few like hard knockdowns. You know, he has a few different ways to do it. So when he does that, it gives you time to plant the Cybermen, which is definitely something you need. His neutral light, his neutral medium, and his crouching medium all hit like low, which is super nice. So it gives you a lot of mix-up options, like I said. However, he's very slow. Very, very slow. Even with the damage that he could do, it's almost not worth it with how slow he is. Like, I think most of his moves, like, I think only 1 or 2 of them have over, like, or under 12 startup frames. I'm not 100% sure on those numbers. I didn't really write them down, but I know when I was looking through, they were all very, very slow startup moves. Which makes sense. I mean, it's Nappa. He's a big boy. He's been eating his meals. He ain't been skipping. But yeah, he's very slow, and if you don't have the Cybermen, which the Cybermen also take only 1 hit usually to take out, so it feels if you don't have them out and stuff like that, it's tough, which means you kind of need to be in a lead position with him. So if you're not, it feels very feast or famine, I guess you could say. Like, if he's doing well, you feel good and you're doing well. If he's not, then it's going to be a bad time for you. And, you know, going up the list, we'll go over to Beerus next. He's a setup character. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't play him a whole lot. I haven't messed with him too much. I know he did just get buffed recently, but he's just not my style. I feel like you have to do a lot of setting things up, and in a game like this, you don't really have the time. It's very rush-heavy in this game. And, I mean, there's some stuff that I've seen people do, and I know that you can do. You can combo and do pretty decent damage, and you can use your God of Destruction's Rampage for a hard knockdown as an ender for the combo, which is super nice. It gives you time to set up orbs and stuff like that. But his hitboxes are a little weak. I do know that. And most of his moves, like, just aren't really worth it in this game. His level 3 doesn't have any reset potential, which, as anybody that knows, is a big thing in this game. It's very nice to have. 16 and Bardock used to have it. They've since, like, they would have been probably the 2 best characters in the game had they not got nerfed like that, and now we've entered a new meta, the snapback meta. But he's very, very weird. I just can't really get into him, so I can't place him any higher than that. I think he's just... Maybe it's just me. Maybe there's a pro out there that'll tell me I'm wrong. But next we'll go to Vegeta Blue. Vegeta Blue is probably the worst of the Vegetas, in all actuality. I love Vegeta as a character, though, so I'm going to probably be a little nicer than other people would. He's got, like, good Rekkas, and he's got quick normals, which is all nice. His Big Bang attack, which is his beam, is probably one of the better ones. It's got one of the highest priorities in the game, so that's really nice. It beats out a lot of things. But the downside of that is it's got like a 14-frame startup window, so you can see it coming, so then you can just vanish, get behind him, open him up for a combo. So that's a bit of a problem. He doesn't have very many sliding knockdown options, so he can't really follow up as well as others. He's very, very aggro with no real defensive options, so it's basically, it's all in or nothing for him, and, you know, I like playing like that, but, there's other people that might do that better, I would say, and that's probably why I've got him so low on my tier list. Next, we'll take a trip off to the left there, kind of between these guys here. We're going to go over to Team Gohan. I mean, long past are the days where this boy finished off Cell. Even though I will say, when you pump out his level 3, bump it up to that level 5 for that extra extended Father-Son Kamehameha damage, it definitely makes you feel like a badass. And it does some solid extra damage on its own, so it's, you know, it's definitely a good way to finish off characters and stuff. With Solid Assist, you can play him kind of rushdown, which I think is different. I think a lot of people play him more like defensive and reactively, but I think you can play him rushdown and catch people off guard because he builds pretty good meter in general. He's very good at carrying opponents into the corner, and he can lock them down pretty well with his special moves, which is also nice. But, like, for everything I'm saying, like, that he does do well, he's got, you know, the same problem as, like, Krillin and stuff. He's got the short limbs because he's a tiny character, so he's got smaller hitboxes on normals, which is a bit of a problem, so his neutral game isn't the greatest. But, you know, with the right team around him, he probably could go higher on this list. I'm probably being a little unfair to him. And you know what, next, we will go with his father in his god form. We're going to go with Bluku. the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku. I mean, he's pretty much on par with base Vegeta. I'd say only a little less good than the base Vegeta is. Which, you know, his damage is really solid. He's got a lot of mix-up options that are both, like, pretty safe neutrals. You know, he gets you in the corner. He can really rack up damage, and it doesn't really matter if he has an assist or not. He can do good damage in the corner. At my level, I know a lot of people fall for that, like, vanishing overhead thing that he's got going on. I fall for it occasionally too. I'm not gonna talk like I'm bigger than my rank because I know how this works. I'm just as much trash as everybody else. Us Wi-Fi warriors talk a big game, but we are nothing compared to people who actually play this game. But I do feel if you learn to watch for it and you block it, it's very punishable, and you can kind of see it coming a lot of the time. He can't deal with zoning at all. He's very bad at it, so you can kind of zone him out too. You give him with a good combination of assists, and like kind of anybody in this game, I feel he could be a threat, but I feel like you'd have to kind of build around him, and that's not what you want to be doing in a game like this. So, you know, we're going to skip that one, or, you know, end with that, I guess. Next, we'll go to Vegeta. Ah, yes, the Prince of all Saiyans. It wasn't a very good Vegeta voice, but I don't care. I love Vegeta. In this game, I feel, you know, he's good. I mean, he's, again, got the problem with short limbs, but beyond that, but I'm going to play some high, like, kind of higher than the Blue Goku, the Blue Vegeta, and stuff like that. He's definitely higher than the Blue Vegeta because of his ability to mix up. He's definitely got better mix-ups than Blue Vegeta does. He also has a command grab that's really easy to combo into a super, which is useful. It's just fun to chuck them into the air like he did Nappa and just end their life. He's got solid pressure. You can extend combos with his level 1, which is nice, because you can extend them with, like, you hit the level 1 if you can, like, time the air portion of it, and you can get a hard knockdown off of stuff like that. He's really solid at a lot of things, but he's not great at anything is kind of where I feel with him. So I feel like he's very close to, like, the middle of the road type of character. I also want to specify that when this chart says, like, low tier and high tier and stuff like that, like, low tier in this still feels like an A. Like, every character feels really good in this game, so it ain't like anybody's, like, garbage and should never be touched. Even 17, like, he definitely can be fun and have some uses, but anyway, let's not get carried away talking about that. Let's move on to, we're going to go over to Cooler, because Cooler's right off to the side there. I've put a lot of time into Cooler. He's one of the ones that I've wanted to fit on my team, but I'm going to admit that might be because, like, I get that few frame delay because I'm playing online. But I mean, come on, look at the dude. Who's cooler than Cooler, am I right? No, probably not. He's a rushdown character, okay? So let's get into talking about him. He's definitely a rushdown character, and you can start some of his combos from mid to far range with his moves. A lot of the stuff goes out far. His crouching medium is a crouching tail strike that you could start a combo to open somebody up with. It's probably not the safest. Nothing he really does is safe because it's a little slow, but I feel like it's a high risk, high reward type thing sometimes for him. His ult is a counter for literally anything that isn't a grab. Like, literally, you're just gonna, like, if you just gonna get bodied, if your haphazard is throwing something out when he has 3 bars, like, you're just gonna get bodied if you throw something out, like, not thinking. Like Cooler will reverse that and make you fucking punished for it. If you have him coming in as an assist occasionally, because you're gonna swap out, his assist does have 27 frames to start up, I will give you that. But he's invincible after about frame 10, and it's very good to, like, give you space and push people away with the knee. But his big, like I said, his drawback is that he's very slow. Both normals and specials are slow. Like most of his stuff has like 12 frames of startup. It's a little brutal. Also, in his combos, his moves like to swap sides, which means that keeping and maintaining corner pressure could be a bit of an issue. But I think that's stuff you can kind of work around. It might not be worth it. There's probably better rushdown characters you could pick. But honestly, I feel like he's got a lot of good things that he can do. It's just he's maybe not right for this meta right now, or maybe some more stuff needs to be found out about him before he becomes, like, more useful. You know, next we'll go to let's go over to Android 21, because that's one I kind of want to talk about. Android 21, she's got a lot of good stuff that she could do. She's also really interesting, just in general as a character. I mean, putting her on point, I had a lot of fun playing with her. I'm sure people that are better than me can definitely do some real work with her. Her normals are all really solid. They've got great range. Her neutral medium's got some good range. Her neutral heavy has good range. Her crouching medium has good range. So that's all really good. Her assist is good, and she can convert really well off of like random stray hits, which is nice. Like, so she's got a lot of good things she can do. Also, her ability to take special moves and like get her own unique special moves by grabbing a character and taking it from them based on what type of character they are, being human, Saiyan, android, or alien. That's a really neat thing. I really dig that. I like the different abilities. They're all kind of useful. She's, however, probably a bit assist dependent, and she's not really able to do any hard knockdowns without either an assist doing it for her, or one or two of the stolen abilities can do it. So that kind of limits her a bit, but I mean, that's probably why she has the faults she has. Like, if she had another hard knockdown, if she had another way to do a hard knockdown, she'd probably be a little better, but she doesn't really have that, so, you know, we gotta go with what we got here. Next, let's go with Zamasu. I'm gonna be honest, where I put him is partially based on what I've seen other people say about him, some of the pros, because I cannot play him. He stumps me overall. It's just like Beerus. Like, I feel it's a very set play type of style, and I just can't do it. With Zamasu, I do see the fun and cool things you could do with it going into his fly and then coming out of it and falling like kind of on the other side to like do some nice air cross-ups and stuff like that, which is it's interesting. It's a cool way to play. And I've seen better players definitely do some solid combos with his like Blades of Judgment and his orbs and stuff like that, and assists, and like do a crazy combo. So you can sort of play him like a hit and run is usually the way I see people play him. Like, they'll go in, get some moves in, kind of confuse people, and then kind of fly off and like make you work for where they're going to come in at, which is cool. But it's not my style. I can't do it well. Also, I feel his damage on its own is probably some of the lower end. It's not the lowest. We'll get to that later, but he definitely has some low damage on his own. He has to be careful with how he does his like smash knockdown stuff, because like he's got to utilize it well. But yeah, like there's probably people that could play him better, but I'll tell you personally, I can't do a damn thing with him. So we'll go off of that, and we'll go on to the next. We'll go with Broly. Just got his movie in theaters. I haven't seen it yet. Looking to go see it soon. Very excited about it. He plays a lot like the Juggernaut in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 to me, which is really good for me because I love that kind of stuff. He's got really good reaching normals. He's got super armor, which though he still takes damage, allows him to get through and get his moves going, even if you don't want him to, which is nice. His Ki Blast options are pretty quick. They poke well. Super awesome. His moves have priority over a lot of things, which makes sense because he's Broly. He don't care what you think. He just wants to kill Kakarot. That's all he cares about. At least this version, because it's not the new movie, Broly. But yeah, he can put a lot of pressure on you in the corner, and he's got a command grab too, so I mean, that means like he has different ways to hit you in the corner. It's bad news bears if you're trapped in there. Although he does like to, much like Cooler does, he likes to switch sides a bit, so that's a little bit of a problem. He does also have the largest hitbox in the game, which means you gotta be careful with how you maneuver with him. The grab's also a bit slow, but I don't have a problem with that so much. His combos also, they scale a lot, so where when you're in the neutral game with other people, like, you might only need to win the neutral game once or twice to really get rolling, whereas with Broly you kind of got to do it like something like 4 or 5 times to really feel the effects and feel like you've done a lot with him, which is kind of a bummer, but I mean, it's alright. I mean, it's not the biggest like pain in the world, but I just think like he's a little slow, and the grab is a little slow. The armor's nice, but I think like until people find a way to make it so you can capitalize on his damage more, he'll probably always stay kind of in the middle of this pack of good people. Next we'll go with Frieza, which people might argue. I think a lot of people might want him higher up on the list, and I can't 100% argue with you. I could definitely give you reasons why he could be higher. He's a master of zoning. Like, honestly, he's probably the best at it in the game. Got a lot of ways to keep people at a distance and a lot of different beams and throwing rocks at people and everything like that. It's really nice. I've seen Hook Gang God and Known Kami place him in different places, though, so I kind of got to go based off that, as well as my personal opinions. I do know for a fact, when you go Golden Frieza and you activate Sparking Blast, you're, like, literally a run-back machine. If you're down to just Frieza, you got that Golden Blast and some meter to burn, or that Golden Form, Sparking Blast and some meter to burn, rather. You are going to do damage for days. You are going to mess up their life, and it's very awesome. I mean, it's only going to last about, like, 21, 23 seconds, something like that. But I think that's plenty of time to get the job done. In a lot of cases. Also, when you're in Golden Form, you're able to reverse beat, which means instead of following the normal combo pattern of like light, medium, heavy, you could just make your own pattern. You can do what you want. You want to start with opening with a heavy and then go into a light and then a medium. You can absolutely do that with Golden Frieza. You can just kind of throw out combos as you want, which gives some weird stuff you can do. He has some cross-up potential with his Warp Beam Blast move, and he can literally hit you from almost full screen away. So like that's pretty awesome. But the problem is he's also a zoner character in a game that's really rushed down and in your face. So if you do get in on him, you kind of can do some damage and do some work to him. That's probably the only reason I'm really not putting him higher up, is that like he doesn't really have a way to deal with it once you're in his face. Yeah, it's gonna where I'm gonna place him for now. But I could see people arguing or making an argument with me and kind of talking me into moving him higher. You wouldn't be twisting my arm all that much. Alright, where do we want to go next? Let's talk about Hit, because Hit's like right there. So Hit, it probably has like the best footsies in the game, hands down. He's probably the best dancer. He has moves that can hit you literally from like medium to long range. Like he's got really good mix-ups. He's got like can come and hit you from either side with the warping punches and stuff like that. A lot of his hits ignore, like when you're trying to give them pressure, it can ignore the reflect, which is tremendous. It's a super huge bonus. I've seen Sonic Fox picking him back up lately, and if Sonic Fox is playing somebody, you usually know that he's either trolling or it's amazing. And I think Hit's going to be secretly amazing. A lot of other stuff he has, like his supers or his specials have invulnerability frames, which is nice. And he also comes with a command backdash, which means you can get in, get some hits, and then get out. Or if you're even better, if they're blocking, you can jump out, so that kind of makes your stuff safe in that way. He also comes with an airborne parry, which means people super dashing at you, you can avoid that. That's also a nice bonus. And on top of all of that, he can ignore the health regen of Sparking Blast with his level 3. You can literally just ignore it and work through it, which is very nice. The negatives, though, he can't do a whole lot in the air personally, like himself. He doesn't have any hard knockdown specials, and his supers don't hit assist characters, which means no happy birthday potential, but man, you can live without that. So, all in all, I think Hit's very good. I would like to see people do some more with him. Like I said, Sonic Fox seems to be on that path, so we'll see what happens with that. And next, let's jump to, let's see, Trunks. Let's talk about Trunks, because Trunks is next there. His normals have good reach, which is nice. His neutral light, his neutral medium, and his crouching medium all moving forward, which means he's got some good neutral movement and can keep that movement good and the neutral game good for him in his favor. He got combos in the corner that build up a lot of damage. He has the Cyclone Jump that was one of his specials that he can do, and where he jumps and spins his blade. It goes through Key Blast, it has a huge hitbox, and it's safe on block. So it's a really good move. You can feel pretty safe throwing it out. It's also a great assist. The assist is like incredibly strong for both neutral and combos because it's got a large hitbox, and it's also got long untech frames, which allows Trunks to act basically as a starter or an extension for many characters when it comes to combos, which makes that assist very useful. His Key Blast that he has is a narrow beam that shoots through other beams, which is very useful. And he has, again, other than maybe Android 17, which we've talked about him, he probably has some of the best mobility in the game. But with all of that being said, I can't play him. And his weaknesses are probably, you know, just basically that he's got no real horizontal air projectiles, which is whatever. And his solo damage by himself isn't all that great. But otherwise, he's really solid. I'm surprised more people aren't playing him, at least that I see, especially at my rank. A lot of people don't mess with him. But he's good. It's not like he's bad by any means. So, yeah, you know, next let's talk about Vegito. Vegito's a character I've been playing a lot, which probably means he should be lower. He's got solid buttons. They've got long reach. They're great for, you know, a lot of situations. His Spirit Sword is an incredible tool for combos, and it also definitely builds a lot of meter, which means that you can basically like just constantly use some resources without feeling too bad about it. So you can kind of like vanish and use get a sliding knockdown hit in and stuff like that, and not feel bad about doing the combo that way. He's got very versatile combos that can go on. He's got pretty good solid ways to end in a sliding knockdown, which is nice. He can bring the opponents to the corner with a basic jumping down heavy combo. You can bring them into the corner pretty easy. He has conversions that keep the opponent there, which is huge. In all honesty, he can do some solid damage with just his basic bread and butters, and his supers are pretty solid as well. But his moves come out slow, which is a bit of a problem. You can't do much with long range, so if he can't get in onto somebody, he's a bit of a drawback. But honestly, he's a pretty solid character that I find myself throwing on my teams pretty often. But again, he's not the best. Next, we'll tackle Captain Ginyu over here. Genyu's just really interesting. Not a lot of people pick him up, and with that being the case, a lot of people don't know how to counter him. The pros probably don't have that type of problem at all, but Ginyu is just so weird. He also basically comes with like 4 different assists that are just free. You know, you can just throw them out with them being the other members of the Ginyu force, which means you can basically have the screen going in absolute chaos at all times, which is huge. It makes it very easy for the opponent to forget which member of the Ginyu Force you're on, so sometimes they'll go for a move they probably wouldn't have had they known you were going to be, you know, bringing out a certain member of the Ginyu Force against you, or against them. Some of his drawbacks, though, his body switch level 3, completely useless. Like, you're not going to hit that, almost never. And then his other super, it's a level 1 that you can bump up to level 3, the Powerful Energy Wave. It doesn't do a lot of damage, so it's not really that worth it either. But even, like, for all of those things being said, like, I still feel he's got a lot of potential, and I've seen a lot of people, like, if you're doing good with Ginyu, you're doing good with Ginyu. But if you're doing bad with him, like, it's tough to bounce back. So I think he's got some potential. That's why I've got him higher than some others on this list. Some people might even call me out on how high I've placed him, but I think he belongs there, in my opinion. Alright, next we'll go to Super Saiyan Goku. How about that? Does that sound good? Sounds good. Alright. So, Super Saiyan Goku, to me, is like the Ryu of this game. He, he's easy to pick up and play. He's versatile. He's got a lot of tools. And he's just kind of a face character, you know what I mean? He's got if you do his light Dragon Flash Fist, it's very versatile. It can be used to end nearly any conversion to a meterless sliding knockdown. It can also be used as pressure because it's a fast overhead, which is super nice. He's got tons of cross-up teleporting moves that give him like great cross-up game, and he completely, because of this, denies zoners. He's got projectiles that can cover a variety of angles because he can aim the Kamehameha up or straight, or he can jump in the air and do a ground one aim towards the ground, which is nice. He's got good solar damage. He can make use of wall bounces very well, and he can use meter to extend his combos, including a solo double super, which results in a significant boost in damage. Not a lot of characters can do that, but he can. He's got a very useful assist that can be used to extend combos or to pressure the opponent, which is, again, very useful. Assists are very important in this game. His negatives are kind of straightforward. The only real things that are like super, like, I guess, bummers about him is because of like the way his move set is. A lot of his moves leave him in the air, which means you can be countered by the down heavy, which launches people into the air. And also, he's kind of predictable. He's very white bread, he's very straightforward, he doesn't have any really crazy gimmicks, so you can kind of block him pretty casually and just learn to deal with him, and he doesn't have anything crazy he can throw at you. But I think to say that your only real fault is that you're not crazy and you're very stable, I feel that's pretty much not a negative, but that's kind of the closest thing I can give you for a negative on him, in my opinion. What else? Who else can we go with next? Let's go with Bardock. I mean, Bardock, up until the most recent patch, he was one of the best in the game. I think it's because he's really easy to pick up and play, and his bread and butters are really basic, which is, you know, makes him even better. Even with like the way he is now, I mean, the father of Goku will still make you call him daddy, like straight up. The only real thing that happened to him was he can't reset as easy, or he can't really reset at all off of his level 3 anymore when he used to be able to do that. And the meta basically now has changed around that, meaning that he's just become less viable, but he's still very, very good. Yeah, he's got like really solid buttons. He's got good balance and speed and range. He's got very high corner damage, and that's solo or with assists. He can do some good corner damage. He's just kind of a really good rushdown character. Like I was saying, when like Vegito Blue and stuff like that, if you're gonna play a rushdown character on point, I think Bardock's a very good choice. He's definitely one of the better ones, one of the best in the game at rushdown. His only real flaws are that most of his high damage combos, they require a good bit of meter, but if you put him with somebody that gains a lot of meter, i.e. maybe that Vegito I was talking about, with the spirit swords, like, you could generate a lot of ki and stuff like that, and be able to kind of cover some of his weaknesses. But I think just because of the snapback meta that we're in right now, that maybe he's just not as viable. But, I mean, he's still very good. And next, let's go with the Prince of all Saiyans, my boy Super Saiyan Vegeta. He's definitely the best of the Vegetas, hands down. Yeah, he's literally the best of them. He's the Ken. If Super Saiyan Goku is the Ryu, then he's the Ken. He's very balanced. He's a solid staple. A lot of people pick him up. His supers are very easy to combo into. His assist may be one of the best in the game for extending combos. He's got a fantastic Ki Blast game and a strong neutral game on top of it. So he's really good at like kind of any real range. If it comes down to Vegeta with Sparking Blast and meter, he's super strong. If it's him as an assist, he's super strong. His pretty much always useful. His only real negatives are, again, short limbs. And that's basically it. It's really just his short limbs, and like his combo scaling is a little weird, I feel. But that could just be me. I could be wrong about that. But I feel it's you know, solid. And I guess while we're over here, we'll tackle. I don't know. Did we tackle TN? I don't know if we did. We might have, so I might be repeating myself here. I'm kind of forgetting who I've tackled and who I haven't as we're getting this high up the list. But if I didn't, TN's just got a really solid mix-up game. He's got multiple lows and a fast command grab, especially when he has meter to burn. You can use telekinesis in the corner to set up his pressure, but every third time you will fail to use it, and that'll leave you open to be attacked. He could score a sliding knockdown in almost every situation with his volleyball fist, which is just his jumping 2H that or if you, after a jumping 2H, you can convert it with the medium volleyball fist and it'll convert it into a hard knockdown. He's got very high damage output when he has the resources to burn. Both of his level 3 supers boast some of the highest damage output in the game, and it allows him to finish off opponents very easily. His Dodon Ray is a really unique beam assist in the fact that instead of carrying them towards the wall like others do, it pops them up into the air, which means you can combo easier at mid-screen. He does, however, have like a below average neutral game, and the Ray does have a small hitbox, so it's kind of easier to counter. His normals are a bit on the stubby side, but it's not the worst. He doesn't have any normals that lunge him forward. And without sparking, the amount of life that he loses using Tri-Beam or Neo Tri-Beam is just not really worth it. You could definitely practically down yourself, which is terrible. But if you could play around that, though, I feel he's honestly one of the most well-rounded characters in the game and is very, very useful. Alright. Well, you know what? I know where we're at now. We're going to go and tackle Yamcha. If you were to call me a one-trick, and say that I am a Yamcha one-trick, I would be offended. You would be right, but I would be very, very offended. My boy Yamcha, he's put on a lot of teams, a whole lot. His assist is very, very useful. It's got a lot of hit stun and stuff like that, so it allows you to play around a lot with stuff. His cross-up game is great when you have resources to burn, because he's the Wolfang Flash. It's very fast, it's versatile, it can cause fast cross-ups during his Rekka Pressure, which is super awesome. He's got a really good assist, as I said. He can convert pretty much every combo into a sliding knockdown by using Gale Claw, or the medium Wolfang Fist finisher, or a Spirit Ball, and it makes him a very solid battery overall. However, he does burn a lot of resources, so it's a give and take. You can set up some double supers off his ability chain Spirit Ball. You could literally chain Spirit Ball into Ultimate Wolfang Fist, depending on how you do the hits on the Spirit Ball, which is nice. It's very nice. He's got some really easy self-sustaining block strings. You just need to throw in a proper assist to kind of support him with that a little bit to make him safer. It's very hard to push him back with a Reflect. He definitely, though, without a shadow of a doubt, has the lowest damage in the game. He needs to use resources to do damage that the rest of the cast can pretty much do with solo combos. He's also garbage at long range. That's 100% a fact. Can't argue it. He's very reliant on meter, as I've said multiple times. It's a huge downfall for him. His Wolfang Flash is absolutely his best tool for many situations, but the problem is that requires ki to even execute it. Even if it's a nice crossover, it's just not really worth it. So him on point is a terrible idea, but as an assist, which is what a lot of people basically use him for, he is excellent, and that's a reason why you'll see him on a lot of teams. And see him very high up in the echelons of gaming right now. We'll go to the left here. We'll go talk about my boy Majin Buu, because I feel that when I sleep, I use a pillow, but when y'all sleep, y'all slept on Majin Buu, because I was thinking he was going to be something fun and different from the get-go, but a lot of people just thought his moves were weird, and he was clunky and slow, and had weird ways to get into combos. Listen, all of those might be true. But if you get into a corner loop combo with him, he is such a powerhouse in the corner. He could do a whole lot of damage. I've seen people just do work with only a few hit confirms before they basically completely body you. It's nasty. He's got great mix-up game. You can reset off of throwing fat and throw out the Vegeta assist. You could just literally, do a lot of work with that. He's good at resets, which makes him honestly a fantastic point character. His aerial normals are pretty solid overall. They have large hitboxes. They can hit far away. It's useful. That's super useful in a game like this. But the problem is that he is very slow. His neutral medium attack is one of the worst in the game, in my opinion. He's got really unorthodox combo patterns compared to other characters. When you're not in the corner, his damage is weak. I can't argue that at all. But if you get him in the corner, you can do a lot of stuff and do a lot of damage. So I think that's just kind of what you got to do with him on point. You just got to be able to keep the pressure on your opponent. Alright, after that, we'll go, we'll talk about the waifu next. How about that? Let's go and talk about Baydroid 18 here. Android 18 was in the beta, if I remember correctly, and I used to play her a lot. I really, really liked her. And she, in this meta, is very, very strong. She's got powerful offensive choices, several good lockdown and mix-up options. She is a key player in this meta, because if you get them in the corner and you start getting that combo going, you can, bring in 17 as your assist, knock them up to 17, who knocks them down into a sliding knockdown. Once they're in that, you're already on the ground. You go into the Dragon Rush, you snap them out with the rush, snap them out, and then basically you're ready to go with the 50-50 game again and open them up. As long as if you open them up again, you can just do it again. Knock them right back up to 17, who knocks them back down. And, you could just throw out assists like Yamcha to keep the block strings going and stuff like that. It's very nice. And then also, if you really want to, you can get a little cocky, hit him with that sadistic dance. I believe they call it a cell dance in this game. But you hit him with the level 3 super, and it honestly is pretty solid. It's got 23 frames of invincibility, which is nice. And it, even on minimum, does 1,518 damage, which again, not bad. It can, the best part about it though, is it can pick up assists. So you can get that level 3 happy birthday with this move, which is nice. Not everybody can do that. So very, very glad that she can. Her normals are a bit short. She just got a little short range. She probably technically has one of the worst neutral games. So you got to be careful with her. But her assist is kind of nice. It's a barrier. It doesn't you don't gain any meter off of it, but it does block an attack, which it could be useful if somebody's, if you're going to throw something out or throw an assist out, you can even use it as a move as you're throwing your assist out and stuff like that. So there's some interesting stuff you could do there. But she's very good. She's very, very good. Her neutral game is really her biggest flaw, I think, personally. But I really enjoy her. I really think she's a good character. Next, we'll talk about Android 16. Big old Android 16 here. He's a big grappler. I love grappler characters. He got nerfed. He kind of faced the same fate as Bardock, where he now can't follow up off of his level 3, which is a bit of a problem, but it's not the end of the world. Because he still has long-reaching, easy-to-confirm normals. He's got a very good meterless, assistless damage output, so he does good damage. So you can kind of play him anywhere you want on the team. He's got a good, useful assist for both extending combos and block strings, which is nice. He's not really limited movement-wise as much as you'd expect for a grappler his size, so he actually moves pretty well, which is good. He definitely also benefits from the system mechanics of this type of character, so he can also create easy 50-50 mix-ups with his moves. And he can also, like, whiff his air throw depending on his opponent's position and the version used, which is a little dangerous, but it also can be used to follow up other stuff, which is kind of interesting and weird. He does lack, like, horizontal projectile attacks, really, so his far-range neutrals game is lacking. And he does build meter slower than most characters, but again, just have a battery on your team that can build up meter for him or anything like that, and you're pretty much fine. His level 3 being a command grab is probably something people would be like, oh, this kind of sucks. But I personally don't care because I play Zangief, so I'm okay with stuff like that. But that's probably a personal mindset thing, less than anything else. Next, we'll tackle Kid Buu. Kid Buu, I got him kind of there, a little bit above Yamcha, I guess technically to the right, but slightly below Android 16. Kid Buu, you used to be able to do some really stupid bullcrap with him. They nerfed him recently, and now you can't basically brainlessly play him, I feel. He's got really good, like, medium buttons that reach full screen. You can open up combos very easily with that. He's got a good mix-up game. He's got good cross-ups in the corner, stuff like that. He's got a long block stun special that he can move during. And he's got the ability to triple hit, or triple overhead on a standing opponent. And that's outside of sparking, which is pretty impressive. Both of his level 1 supers allow teammates to get double supers off of a DHC. Again, very nice. He's probably got the best lockdown assist in the game in the corner, absolutely. But, now his air special cannonball crap isn't as potent as it used to be. It doesn't cross up like it used to, or nearly as often at least, which is very, very good. A lot of people used to just spam that and throw that out everywhere. Now they can't really do that as much. When you're trying to name his negatives, his solo damage isn't very good. But that's all I really got on him. I mean, overall, he's got some cool stuff that he can do, and he's got an interesting kit. But he's definitely not as strong as he used to be. But as you can see, he's definitely, I'd still argue he's in the top. Even with my list looking a little off, I could argue he's still in the top 5, depending on how you're playing. And next, we'll go with Cell. Cell was another one that was at the top of his game for a while, and now you see it hasn't changed a whole lot. He's still very useful on point. He's got really good damage output. He can do loops in the corner that are very good. He's very versatile, so basically all of his like moves and abilities. He's got a lot of tools. He can kind of do anything in a lot of situations. He has very good block strings and mix-ups, especially mix-ups, because he has 3 low strikes. He's got 2 overhead specials that he can do, and he has a ranged command grab. So when you're in the corner, you got like everything to worry about, which is a huge problem, probably why he's as big as he is. He has really long-reaching normals, even involving his neutral light by itself can like combo. He's got multiple projectiles, making him a constant threat in neutral. He's much better. He's got a better reward for the landing the Dragon Rush. Not as good as some of the people you'll see higher up, but he's got, you know, pretty high reward off of that. He does, however, got like the 2nd highest hitbox in the game, literally only below Broly, which means you got to be a little careful with how you move him. His assist's a little weak, but you're going to play him on points, so that's not a huge deal. And a lot of his normals do have a bit of recovery on them, which means that you can be punished if you whiff, which is, you know, as long as, again, if you're smart, you're not going to throw things out too haphazardly, and you probably don't have to worry about that so much as, like, a negative. So, for real, like, I feel Cell's, again, still one of the best in the game. Definitely belongs where, up towards the top, you know, tiers. And then after that, the only things, we got 3 more boys left. We're going to start with Adult Gohan. He's definitely right towards the top, and I can, you know, I can't say I've really experienced how good he is, even though I know he is very, very good. A drawback that he has is for people like me, people playing at home, you know, just casuals. He's very extremely like precise. He is very absolute in his moves. He's very technical. He's well-rounded. I mean, he's got good projectiles. He's got solid range normals. He's got, you know, a good mix-up game and got good pressure. Which gives him a really solid neutral game. Whenever you use his super, his potential unleashed, it's a level up thing, so he's a level up character, which is kind of cool. Even before getting any levels, he's kind of got all his tools unlocked and he's able to go. But when you start leveling that up, he gets better. It gives more damage on his abilities. Even some of his basic moves get increased damage at certain levels. He gets more hits on several of his specials from the potential unleashed system. He can modify his auto combos through stuff like that. And once you get high enough in it, you literally gain the ability to reverse beat with him, so you can open up with the heavies and go into lights. It's honestly really good. You probably won't get crazy high in the chart. I don't know when that actually kicks in. It might be at full 7, but I'm not sure. So don't quote me on that, but I do know it's possible. Like I said, he starts with all his tools, which is super nice. You only need 1 level of the potential rising stuff going on, or potential unleashed rather. You only need 1 level of it really before like your Masenko does extra damage and stuff like that. So like he's really good even with just 1 level. But once you start hitting levels like 3 and 5, you do a lot more damage and stuff like that. He's got a meterless reversal, which is super useful. You can fast fall with him, which is also super useful because that gives you the ability to create awesome different mix-ups and cross-ups on the opponent while they're airborne and are unable to recover yet. Also, even just in general, ending a combo with the fall and then dashing towards your opponent, moving towards your opponent builds meter. So that's a way to build meter right off the bat. It's a nice little touch and something you could do just because every little bit of meter can help. Also, unrelated to him, but a weird fact. His level 3 super where he is doing the family Kamehameha. Normally it's Super Saiyan, or Goku Super Saiyan, and Goten Super Saiyan shows up to help fire the family Kamehameha. Well, if you're playing with Gotenks on your team, well, Goten's a little preoccupied because he's fused with Trunks, so he can't do the father-son Kamehameha stuff. So it ends up just being Goku and you doing the blast. This gives the beam a smaller hitbox. Still does the same amount of damage and hits, but it's just kind of a nice little thing. I don't know how much that changes things in most cases, but I just thought it was an interesting touch. Then we'll go up next to who I will call Gohan's true father, Piccolo here. Honestly, this meta is perfect for him. I've wanted to play him from the get-go, but I was kind of baited into thinking he couldn't do a lot. But he definitely can, especially in this meta. He's so much better now. He even also just got some buffs, which definitely helped him. His normals have good range. He's got great neutral game. You can get the hard knockdown and follow up with that Hell Zone grenade, which literally is what you're going to do in the corner. You're going to get that combo going, you're going to throw out that Hell Zone grenade, force them to either block or get hit by the Hell Zone grenade, which you can then combo into, or they're going to have to block and get, you know, trapped in, and then you just eventually hit that Dragon Rush again, tag out, you know, do the Hell Zone grenade, etc., etc. It makes it very tough to escape. He has a really solid high-low mix-up in general for the options and stuff like that. Literally, he's probably, arguably, I would have put him as the best in the game, but I do think there's absolutely it's one better. Because it does kind of suck. He needs to spend meter to get a sliding knockdown outside of the corner. And his damage overall is average, maybe a little weaker than average, to be fair. He doesn't have any air supers, which kind of sucks. But, you know, honestly, in this meta, he is absolutely god tier. He's very Kami level, if you will. But normally, otherwise, I feel like he's just fused with nail and damage and stuff like that. But in this form, he's absolutely the full-fledged, legendary Super Namekian Piccolo, my boy. But we're going to now talk about the absolute toppest tier character, and that is Gotenks. Gotenks is hands down the best character in this meta right now. He's always been really good, but he now absolutely is the best of the best. He's got great utility with most of the cast because his level 1 gives many characters double super setups, which leads to a lot of great damage and a lot of touch of death situations where you can just basically get one hit and you're just going nuts on the opponent. He's got really strong mix-up game and pressure. He's got a lot of his specials are safe on block, which is awesome. They also can lead to some tricky reset stuff. His small size makes it hard for certain combos to work on him, which, again, super useful. Can help him avoid certain moves in general. His assist can be used to extend certain combos, further adding to his utility in general. You could do a similar move in the corner that is useful in this meta, where you're literally just using the Super Ghost Kamikaze attack and then kind of dashing back, making them forced to eat it and then getting back in. The meta is definitely helping him, but he's definitely going to be high up no matter what. I think a lot of people have really figured him out. They've done a lot of stuff with him. A lot of his supers are really nice. So yeah, just outright, Gotenks is probably one of the best characters you could pick up. So yeah, that's it. That's all I've got to say. I didn't go into depths with any character too heavy, but that's more so just because of the fact that I feel maybe I could do that in future videos. If you guys want me to, I could talk more in depth about characters with some of my gameplay or something there to aid it. But for now, I've been Captain Solomon. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys watched the Dragonball Fighterz World Tournament on Twitch. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe, hit the like button, anything like that. You know, casual YouTuber talk. I got a pretty small following here. And I do a lot of different stuff. I do music, I do gaming stuff, I do just random talking videos like blogs and vlogs, I guess they'd be because they're on video. Just do a lot of random weird stuff. I just post what I want to post. But I do plan to do a lot more fighting game content, and once Mortal Kombat 11 drops, I will be trying to stream that entire story mode if the internet allows me. I'm not sure about the rules on that. But anyway, guys, again, I've been Captain Solomon. You guys have been awesome. Thanks for tuning in, and take it easy.